Welcome to MACSS Basics Training. This training is geared for all circuit clerk staff that work with the Family Support Division. We will cover a broad base of information which will help you in your daily work. Circuit clerks utilize a computer system known as the Missouri Automated Child Support System, or also known as MACSS. I cannot overly stress the importance of your data entry work. Accuracy in entering information into MACSS is vital in all job specializations. Let me repeat that. Accuracy in MACSS is vital to child support and is a key expectation for your work. In this training, we will discuss member demographics. We will discuss the various aspects of family violence and the types of information available on MPRO 1 and MPRO 2. Demonstrations will be shown on how to add and update addresses, as well as looking at the member's contact list. The information shared with you in this training can be located on the Child Support Training page. Let me guide you step by step through accessing this information before we proceed. On our DSS homepage, we're going to hover over Divisions and click on Family Support Division. Once you're on the Family Support Division homepage, you can hover over Programs and click on Child Support. Once you're on your Child Support homepage, over on the right-hand side of the screen, you have your quick links, and then you have CS Training. We are now on our Child Support Training homepage. You can hover over Program Training and click on Circuit Clerk. We are now on the Circuit Clerk Training homepage. Right next to Security Access, you have your Training tab. And if you scroll down, you have the MACSS Basics section. And located under Section 4, you have Member Demographics. Please note the address hierarchy handout that will become useful to you during this training. By clicking on the link, you'll be taken directly to the MACSS Quick Reference Guide, where you'll find step-by-step instructions on how to complete the MACSS activities we discuss in this training. It's crucial to know when to share information from MACSS, such as screen prints. This information can only be shared during the administration of the 4D program, meaning screen prints can only be shared with child support staff. Please review the DSS Confidentiality and Information Security Agreement form and contact Nicole Hartley if you have any questions or need clarification. So there are times when a member or members are victims of family violence. Family violence information, while being member-specific, is actually recorded at the case level. The screen used to record this information is CMFVL. There are times when a member or members are victims of family violence. Family violence information, while being member-specific, is actually recorded at the case level. The screen used to record this information is CMFVL, which stands for Case Member Family Violence. To access this screen, you will simply type CMFVL on your command line, followed by the case number. Several things happen after information has been added to CMFVL. FV indicators appear on Cases, CSTAT, CMEMI, Matter, MPRO 1, INTRD, Diary, NOTEL, and Sorts. An alert is generated to all workers associated to that case. MACSS automatically suppresses Social Security numbers, driver's license data, and telephone numbers on forms generated for both the custodial parent and the non-custodial parent. The custodial parent and the active dependent information are also suppressed on related active cases in MACSS. The client can request to use an alternative address by submitting the CS 310A, which is a specific child support form. Now, the MFVPD screen is used to record member violence. This records PD for possibly dangerous information. PD information is only recorded at the member level. You can also enter FV for family violence on this screen. Since this is a member level screen, you'll need the member's MM number or the DCN. So you would type MFVPD on your command line and then enter the member's identification number. Now, it is possible for a non-custodial parent to claim family violence. You can add the FV indicator to the non-custodial parent's MFVPD screen. However, MACSS is not programmed to suppress the NCP's address. So in these situations, the non-custodial parent has the option to provide an alternate address or utilize the Safe at Home program through the Secretary of State's office. After entering the PD violence indicator, you would see the PD code on several of the member screens associated to that member, such as MPRO1 and CMEMI. Let's take a look at what MPRO1 looks like. There are many screens in MACSS used to record and maintain member demographic information. Member demographic information includes, but is not limited to, information such as their date of birth, telephone number, social security number, address, physical description, and employer information. Staff can record and maintain all of this information and much more for all members in MACSS. The more information you have available for the parties on the case, the more success you'll have in working the case. Therefore, it's critical that you record member demographic information in MACSS as soon as it becomes available. Not only will the information benefit you, but it may also benefit another worker who shares the same member on one of his or her cases. Remember, everyone who has access to MACSS shares member information screens. There's numerous screens in MACSS designed to allow you to record and maintain information regarding a member. You'll determine which screens will be utilized based upon the information available for the member. A lot of personal information about a person can be recorded in MACSS. One of the most useful screens is MPRO1. This screen records a lot of very important information about a member. I can tell that this is a member screen based on the M in MPRO1, as well as the title of the screen, Member Profile Detail 1. Some of the information is updated manually, while some of it can be updated by MACSS. One of the first fields that stands out to me is the member violence field because it has the PD yellow indicator. It reflects information that populates from data entry on the various screens that are used to record family violence and or a member who is possibly dangerous to staff, like we mentioned before. We've already talked about that topic in general, so we're going to skip this section for now. Thorough, accurate information here will be useful in your day-to-day work. Telephone numbers in particular can be very helpful. For members associated with 2 or more 4D cases, MPRO1 enables us to see information on one screen, much easier than accessing case diary screen for each case. In fact, you should never record member demographic information on the diary screen unless you also recorded it in the correct screen in MACSS. So we have the member's name, we have the date of birth, we have the DCN, as well as whether or not they're male or female, and their race. We can also update this screen with the home phone, cell phone numbers, and the email address. There are many more fields displayed, but we're going to focus on these specific ones in this training. I'm going to show you the steps to update the information if needed. On my command line, I'm going to type MPRO1 and hit Control. Again, I know that this is a member screen because MACSS is automatically asking me for the member's ID. So this can either be the member's MM number or the DCN. Once you have your member ID typed, you can go ahead and hit Control. And you get the message down at the bottom, successfully displayed. So let's say we have a new phone number for the non-custodial parent on this case. I'm going to put a U on my command line, and I'm going to tab down to the cell phone number. He told me that his phone number was 573-899-7586. He gave me this information earlier this morning, so I'm going to type today's date. And I'm going to hit Control. The message successfully updated is displayed on the bottom of our screen. Now, on some of our screens, when we're saving information, we get the option to save it, and you'll get a warning message down at the bottom. Do you want to save, yes or no? MPRO 1 does not work that way. Whenever you put your U on your command line and you hit Control, it automatically saves the information. So as you can see, it's pretty easy to update MPRO 1. Any updates that are made to the screen are immediate. So this means that you and other workers can see what was entered just today. Notice at the bottom of your screen, you have your function keys. F5 will take you to MPRO 2, which is our next destination. MPRO 2 also provides specific information about a member that is useful for location or providing physical descriptions for a sheriff or process server. While some of the information on the screen may seem inconsequential to you, bear in mind that it can be extremely helpful in locating an individual or providing a physical description to a sheriff or process server if the member has to be served. The first portion of the screen displays information for the member's spouse, mom, and dad. The bottom half of the screen will display information to physically describe the member. I will now show you the steps to update this information if needed. Let's say that I received an application that had some information for the non-custodial parent. So on my MPRO 1 screen, I'm going to hit F5, and it took me to MPRO 2. With a U on my command line, because I am updating information, I'm going to tab down to the bottom half of my screen. And with my cursor in the I section, the I field, I have this plus sign telling me that I can prompt out. With our cursor in our I field, we have the plus sign right here indicating that we can prompt out. So I'm going to put an equal sign and hit F4. And I'm going to select the eye color that was listed on the application. I selected the brown eye color and hit Control, and it takes me back to my MPRO 2 screen. Next, I'm going to prompt out in the hair color. Application said he was bald. Now I'm going to tab down to my distinguishing marks because the height and weight was not left. So you don't have a lot of space here, but you can enter some general information such as multiple tattoos on forearm or scar on left cheek. Let's say that the application said that he has a dragon tattoo on his left forearm. Once we have the information that we want to enter, we can go ahead and hit Control. And we get the message successfully added at the bottom of our screen. Let's move on to addresses. MADDR, or Matter, is a very important member screen in MACSS. It records current, active, and pending address information. Because member location and address verification are vital to many MACSS case actions, Matter must be updated with current and accurate address information. Matter is included in member demographics because it is a member-driven screen. You can see that this is a member-based screen because the search field is the MM number or the DCN. And if you access matter from another screen, the last member ID that we worked with will automatically display in this field. While this can be a great time-saving feature in MACSS, I want to caution you about something. Let's say that you were on MFVPD for one member, but now you want to work with another member. When you access matter, the previous member information will display. So you must change the member ID to begin working with the next member. Don't forget this, as you could inadvertently add or update information on the wrong member. With that being said, let's continue our discussion. So, to the right of the member ID field, we can see that member violence displays. There's no line for us to type that information, so that means that this field will populate based on data entry added to other MACSS screens. This field highlights for cases that involve domestic violence issues between the parties on the case, and the code that you'll see for that is FV for family violence, as mentioned earlier. Again, there may also be the cases that involve potential violence against staff members. So this would include child support staff as well as others who work on our 4D cases, such as the prosecuting attorneys and circuit clerks. If such a threat is added to MACSS for a particular member, the code displayed on their matter screen will be PD, indicating possibly dangerous. So now we can kind of see how that information that we added on MVPD will display on some of our other member demographic screens. So to add an address for a member, we would simply put the A on our command line. We would only use the U on our update command to enter a new verified date if you have re-verified an active address, or to end a member's address. There is no delete capability on this screen. So once an address has been entered for a member, it cannot be deleted. This is because child support wants to maintain an address history for members for possible locate information, or to establish a record of a member who may move frequently. I'm going to demonstrate how to end and add a new address to a member. Again, to access this screen, you'll simply type matter followed by the member's MM number or the DCN. I hit my home key to go on my command line, and I'm going to type matter. We are currently working with Sam Helms on my MPro 2 screen, and we now have Sam Helms on our matter screen. That is what we consider sticky data. So on my command line, I am going to end the current address. We have the mailing address with the address 1234 Jackson Street of Jefferson City, Missouri. I want to update this screen, so I'm going to put a U on my command line. I'm going to tab down to my first address type or address entry. Here's our first one. Here's the second one. So I'm going to select the first one. And I'm going to tab over to my end date, and I'm going to put today's date in the end field. Reason. Why am I ending this address? Well, the non-custodial parent called, said that he moved, and provided a new one. So I'm going to prompt out because I see this plus sign right here. So equal F4. And I see right here, G, moved, new address given. I tab down, select my option, and hit Control. Go ahead and hit Control again, and we get successfully updated. Hit Control one more time, and our screen is now cleared. So like I said, the non-custodial parent called. He told me that he moved, and he provided a new address. So let's go ahead and add that new address. So since I'm adding, I'm going to put an A on my command line. I'm going to tab down to my first address type, and I'm going to select plus sign. So I'm going to equal F4. This is where he receives mail, so I'm going to select and hit Control. I'm not going to put anything in my in field because that were to be filled out if I were ending the address, the same with the reason field. So with my cursor in my first address one line, I'm going to start typing the address. He told me that he was living at 509 East Stone Street in DeSoto, Missouri. His zip code is 63020. Country we don't have to fill out because we know that it's in the USA, so it'll automatically fill out. And then my FIPS code, I know what county DeSoto is in, so I can go ahead and look at my FIPS county listing and type 099. My verified code in dates, I see my plus sign, so I'm going to prompt out. And like I said, the non-custodial parent called me, so I'm going to select phone, hit Control. He called me today and told me this, so January 2nd, 2026. And my source. Let's go ahead. We have that plus sign equal F4. So this came from the non-custodial parents. Up here at the top, you have this plus sign next to more, indicating that there are more pages of options behind this. So I'm going to hit F8 to go forward. And I see NCPT for non-custodial parent. Selecting, hitting Control, and I'm back on Matter. And in my comment field, I'm going to say NCP called to provide new address. I'm going to hit Control, and we have successfully added. So we have successfully ended and added a new address to the member. To see the entire history of addresses for the NCP, we can now go to MADL, MADDL, which stands for Member Address List, and hit Control. I can now see my 1234 Jackson Street in Jefferson City, Missouri that has been ended. And I now see my new address, 509 East Stone Street in DeSoto, Missouri, that is now active. And if I wanted to see further details, such as the verification date, when it was ended, things like that, I can select, hit F13 or Shift F1, which will now take me back to Matter. Let's move on to the last portion of our training, the member contact list. Member Contacts has its own screen in MACSS. It's called the Member Contact List, or MEMSL. This screen is used when a member has left someone as a contact that child support can use when trying to reach them. It's possible a member doesn't want to be reached at home. We can tell that this is a member-based screen from the M in MEMSL, which means the MN number or DCN will need to be used to access the screen with information. MEMSL is also useful for location purposes. You can also use this screen to record the NCP's parents' names as contacts if you know their address or phone number. We can add, update, delete, and inquire on MEMSL. If the custodial parent provides her current spouse or boyfriend as a contact, you can add it to MEMSL. A thing to note about MEMSL, though, this may be a contact person where you can leave a message for the custodial parent to call you. It's also possible that the custodial parent sent a letter with her application stating that it's okay to discuss details of his or her case with this person. In that situation, you would also need to have a permission diary note. The PRMSN diary note is what the call center and other workers look for if someone other than the custodial parent or non-custodial parent calls to discuss this case. This is a confidentiality issue. The list and detail screens for member employment functions similarly to the other list and detail screens you've seen. The list provides a listing of all employers, current or past, that the member has ever been associated with. The detail screen provides detailed information regarding the member's employer, pay, employment type, and occupation. Before you can get to the detail screen, you first have to access the member employment list screen. MEMPL will display general information such as the employer name, begin date, and if the employment is active or not. To view further details, select the employment, press F13, and it will take you to MEMPD. MEMPD stands for Member Employment Detail. As you can see, it provides more information than MEMPL, including the address, pay amount and frequency, how the employment was verified, and the hours the member works. In this training, we discussed family violence in different member demographic screens. Keep in mind, the resources offered in today's training are crucial in developing your skills in MACSS, and I highly encourage you to take the time to review them and bookmark them for future work. These instructions can also be found on the Circuit Clerk training page, specifically in the MACSS Basics section. Thanks for watching.